Good afternoon, and welcome to Advocacy for Mushroom Vape. As I like to underline that everything that we go over is an advocacy for vaping mushrooms. It may not be, oh, excuse me. She's fashionably late. She's got to chew, so I guess she's not coming in. All right, that's fine. I don't mind. So I was going to annoy you a little further with an introduction to what I'm up to. So the last video we were talking about Mycopharmaceuticals and Nutraceuticals and the lengthening of our lifespans. If that's not an advocacy for vaping mushrooms, I don't know what is. And we discussed two, I believe, I'll have to look at it to make sure, something to the effect of dealing with January's FDA's report on anti-cancer with mushrooms. They're not saying whether or not mushrooms, they're not saying that mushrooms are going to be the anti-cancer as all these reports that we're going through say. They're just not buying it yet. Now, that means to me that it would be remiss for me to tell you that you should vape this because you don't want cancer, or something of that nature. So I just want to put it on record that I'm not going to say that. Nice to see you drop by. But what I'm going to do, I hope, I'm not going to leave the door open, either come in or go out. You're going to come in and help, or go out and eat your chew. Or you can stand there like that. Hurry up. Make a decision. I know it's really hot in here. I'm in the desert, by the way, so it's going to get worse. All right, move it up here. Oh, what's the business? There we go. Okay, so with that in mind, I stated that we're not going to promote this as an anti-cancer. The next segment for this article says Fungi contribution as antioxidant and anti-cancer products. How much fun is that? Fungi, including very popular, affordable, and widely utilized mushrooms, are a great source of high-quality natural products with good potential anti-cancer and antioxidant agents that can be further studied and clinically tested for a future anti-cancer drug. Right? The white common mushrooms, Agaricus bisporus, is currently the most widely cultivated and most studied edible mushroom worldwide. It's the button mushroom, the one we use in salads. The same mushroom is brown would be called crimini, and when it's finished its unfolding or its growth, it's called the portobello. It's all the same mushroom, just in different stages of development. It is consumed due to its pleasant flavor and good natural source of vitamin B. A study conducted on a digested protein from the common mushroom showed that it possessed natural functional properties in suppressing oxidative stress and suggested its potential application in the food industry as alternate natural antioxidants. This white mushroom has been extensively studied and many reports have examined and discussed its antioxidant ability for both wild and cultivated Agaricus species from different parts of the world. The debate regarding the vast fungal biodiversity linked to direct the resources for the discovery of new SMs, especially from newly identified fungi species, which needs further research to characterize those SMs and their mode of action. In this Aspergillus racinalis extracts revealed, in this regard, research conducted on different Agaricus species revealed the number of phenolic compounds varied with dried Aspergillus racinalis extracts reveal the highest concentration content of phenolic acid. Aspergillus racinalis is a mold, I think, like a yeast. I think it's a yeast, a type of yeast. One of the issues on Aspergillus and what's the other one? Candida, which are both medicinal, but at the same time, their spores are wreck hell in our lungs. Why we're using extracts here. Like for example, not to be silly, but they call it Nutraceuticals, Mycopharmaceuticals. Here's my mycoceutical medicine cabinet here. I put it behind this box. I thought it'd be cool. All right, so here, for example, I know we went through this. This is the last mushroom, my 6 mushroom blend that we talked about directly. Is this tiger milk mushroom, right? We talked about it. Look at this dose. Right here, you'll hear. The legend of the tiger milk mushroom. This rare medicinal mushroom is originally from tropical forests of Asia and has been used native people for hundreds of years. According to folklore, it grows from where the drops of tiger's milk fall on the ground. Traditional Chinese medicine as a protective agent for the lungs and the bloodstream. Supports lung and respiratory health, right? Serving size, 1 capsule, 450 milligrams. And there's 30 in here. It says take 1 to 2 capsules daily. Tiger milk mushroom, Lignosus rhinoceros. Right, the reason why I showed you that, and let me show you this too, while we're here showing you mushrooms. A lot of these reports we're going to walk into here. This is the first group that I got. This is already a 6 mushroom blend, but this isn't my mushroom blend, right? This is lion's mane, turkey tail, reishi, cordyceps, maitake, and chaga, right? Look here. Reishi is called Ganderma lucidum, and Mistaki is called Grifolia or Grifola. What is that? Fundusis? All right, and you get the rest. You get the idea of the rest. So I replaced Mitaki and Reishi with what you saw there, tiger milk and agarikon, right? Because this is the advocacy for mushroom vape. You know, we're not eating it, we're vaping it. Okay? And this is the package, mind you. Ultra quality, ultra potency, ultra value, ultra resorts. It's called Agarikon Ultra. Right? Live long, live strong. Right? You buy health supplements because you want products that work, that are easy to use, and are safe for you and your family. Longevity Botanicals is committed to deliver for you. Oh, that's the company that I got this from. Longevity Botanicals. All right, I thought maybe there was a blurb on it. But anyway, so let's look at this quick, since we're here. Agarikon well-crafted fruiting body, Fomitopsis officinalis. Okay. 1 heaping scoop, 1.6 grams. All right, so what I'm telling you about what I'm saying, I mean, as a blend, we notice that we don't need to use the amount that are in the daily suggested, right? But on the reports, we're using hundreds of grams. What, 300 to 400 grams a day or something like that? Something crazy. What I'm saying essentially is this. This is microdosing. And I'm not at all saying vape instead of eat. I'm saying vape along with eating. Does that make sense? The more of these things I read, the better I understand what I'm talking about. Like here, for example, previous studies show that Agaricus blazei possess potential anti-cancer, anti-proliferation properties, mainly due to its ability to produce beta-glucans and polysaccharides. So Agaricus blazei and the hot extracts of these fungi were shown to have a apoptotic effect on human cancer cell lines. And that's just the what form of yeast is it? For mold. Despite the debate of proper scientific name, the traditional fungus Sanghuigamporus sanghuang, growing on mulberry, is believed to have medicinal value and used to treat inflammation. So we noticed that the mushrooms that over the last couple of weeks we talked about these up my 6 mushroom blend on the inflammations, etc., etc., etc. So all working together. I'm just wanting to use this article as an advocacy for vaping mushrooms. And try to run ahead and find a mushroom that I have that's in this group that they're talking about, instead of reading this verbatim. As you know, me reading these things verbatim sounds kind of horrible. But It's right here. They say the oyster mushroom contains polysaccharides with anti-tumor activity, and we like oyster mushrooms. From what I understand, the best flavor is the pink ones. The most common ones that you get at a restaurant would be the gray ones. They're very good, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that because it's not pink, it's not as good. They all taste different, but good enough to each other. Here we go. A recent review on the pharmaceutical abilities of the tiger milk mushroom discussed the anti-cancer, antimicrobial, anti-asthmatic properties of tiger milk mushroom. Right? Now, is there a number? Good, 91. A review of the bioactive activities of tiger milk mushroom. A status review, 2018. Here we go. While 70% ethanol exhibited the highest antioxidant activity of termite mushroom, termitositis, hot water extract proved to be the method of choice to get the highest scavenged mushroom antioxidant ability when it related to wood ear mushroom. All right, so different mushrooms need different processes to bring out the compounds that we want to isolate. They're talking about isolating compounds. I'm talking about vaping compounds. So I'm using hot water extract, which is in the bottles already. I get them already hot water extracted in powder form, and then I gravity filter that, and then those solids that are left over from gravity filtering it, I use the ethanol extraction rig. So I'm not saying I'm getting the percentages they're getting, but I'm using 99%, is it? I'm using 99.5% ethyl alcohol, right? I know my refrigerator is kind of bare, and it doesn't necessarily have to stay in there, but I'm in the desert, my friends, and it's going to get very hot in here. Glad to see you show up finally, Stella. Advocacy for mushroom vape. Okay, so they're using anywhere between 50% ethanol to 75% ethanol to 97% ethanol, and I ended up getting 99.5% ethanol because I want the solids broken down. All right, so they're doing it for that reason. I'm doing it for ease of smoke, ease of vape. This, after all, is an advocacy for vaping mushrooms, not the advocacy for what we're reading. But what we're reading supports vaping. Vaping doesn't necessarily support what we're reading. So here, for example, comparison between hot water extraction from edible mushroom antioxidant activity showed higher activity of antioxidants from Ganoderma lucidum compared to other fungi like Schizophilum commune. So Ganoderma lucidum is maitake or reishi, the sleeping mushroom. Because if you have an issue with sleeping, you can eat that mushroom, by the way, and it'll help you sleep. And then we're not talking about psilocybin or other psychedelic things about the mushrooms. We're talking about true mushrooms and their medicinal qualities for our human physiology. Okay, so this chart here says, does it blow up or does it make it? Okay, it blows up a little bit. All right, pathogenic filamentous fungi, potential positive interaction with the human. What are the fungi that's filamentous? Mycelium filaments. Okay, so anyway, the chart has on the left detoxification and on the right infection. On the left, antioxidant, nutraceuticals, antimicrobial drug synthesis. So we synthesize drugs to put in our system, and we use the adenosine system. We have adenosine receptors in our lungs and in pretty much all over our bodies. And when we take the synthetic drugs, it goes to the right places, utilizing this pathway, this adenosine pathway. I showed you the cordyceps is a natural, has a property in it, a compound in it called cordycepin, which is a natural analog to adenosine. So on the infection part, if you have an infected lung, if you have infected grass, you have infected animals. Don't know why they have it like that, but it's not necessarily that. So what's going on? Well, our lungs are the filters for our body. We're filtering out all the debris that we don't want in our bloodstream. Grass is basically a filter, and then animals are another filter for us. Say it like that. But the animals eat the grass, and we eat the animals. So ultimately, you have your viruses on the ground. You have the reason why dogs get a certain virus and pass it to us is because they're nose to the ground. The reason why your ducks, your chickens have their ailments because they live close to the ground. They're always pecking off the ground. So in time, we've developed things like shoes, ways not to be one with the earth. So generally speaking, we don't have the common level of immunity to common things. We are separating ourselves from the microbes more and more as we progress. So because of this, that in itself is an advocacy for mushroom vape. I mean, think about it. Pathogenic, filamentous, fungi potential, and positive interaction with the human, right? All right, I know, that's a little stretch. But I'm not completely out of pocket with that, I don't think. Due to the extensive structural variety, complexity, and various pharmaceutical characteristics identified metabolites, this area has been more interesting for researchers, and more research on animal experiment and clinical trials are needed to verify validity of these claims to our supplement drug production at the industrial level. Okay, so we may have to stop here and do section 3 on a later date. Yes, it looks like that. All right, so we're going to stop here. Fungi as protein and carbohydrate source. I just want to say something on that, just a little bit. Talk about that quickly before we end. Let me sit with my cohort. Okay, so the related issue on carbohydrate source, fungi as protein, is that our current issue happens to be bread. So not every diabetic person can eat bread, high sugar, etc., etc., etc. We want to try to stay away from the complex sugars because essentially our body breaks everything down to its component sources, and the brain eats sugar. The other organs need other nutrients to help them break the things down to sugar. So the brains eat sugar. So we try to get sugar into the bloodstream for the brain. Essentially, that's what's going on. But we have gotten so good at making our grain into bread to the point where we just add sugar to it. And then our bodies get over sugared. As we age, our systems, like for example, we don't really need milk after 6 months, right? But we like milk, you know. Like in my system, I love ice cream, but I'm lactose intolerant, so I can't deal with whey and complex sugars of that nature. But I love ice cream, and I pay for it every time I eat it. So anyway, so what I was talking about as far as being a carbohydrate source, we can make bread with mushrooms. So if we can make bread, we can utilize 10%. Is it less or more, or 10% wheat and 80% mushrooms, and the rest filler? So we can decrease the amount of sugar in bread, the complex sugars in bread, by utilizing mushrooms, is what I'm saying. So it would be a positive direction. So anyway, that's going to be the next talk to see what that means as far as this paper is concerned. Yes, it's fine. So thank you very much for hanging out, listening to my rhetoric. And have a pleasant week. So next time we're going to look at number 3, fungi as protein and carbohydrate source. And that will conclude today's episode of Advocacy for Mushroom Vape. Thank you.